Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So here's a brand new deck profile for you guys. This time, it's on Aromages. In fact, I've been wanting to build this deck ever since the new support was revealed. And honestly, I really like what the deck can do. It's a very fun deck, especially if you're just a casual player. Now, I did do my best to make this deck as competitive as possible. And honestly, this deck actually has some pretty good potential as a rogue contender. So if you're looking for like a really strong control strategy, this is actually a deck you can try out. It's very easy to learn. And also, what's also great about the Aromage is that once you gain life points and trigger their effects, you can chain block a lot of the hand traps. So, like, yeah, it's just crazy. And the whole point of this deck is just to keep gaining life points, and then I'm going to show you a strategy that basically just helps you OTK your opponent with like one shot if you can pull it off. So, yeah. Alright, so starting off with the main deck, I'm actually playing 3 copies of Aromage Jasmine. This is actually like your best card in the entire deck. So if you gain life points, you can draw 1 card, and also if your life points are higher, you automatically get a free additional normal summon in addition to your normal summon. So, but as long as it has to be a plant monster. So, but Jasmine's really good for that reason, and yeah, and she's got a pretty decent defense too. So, yeah. Next, 3 Aromaseraphy Angelica. So this is your main tuner. During either player's turn, you can discard this card, then target 1 Aroma monster in your grave, gain life points equal to that target's attack points. But again, you could also use it for the fact that it's a tuner monster. So yeah, and while your life points is higher than your opponent's, while you control an Aroma monster, and this card is in your graveyard, you can basically get a free summon, but you have to banish it when it leaves the field. So that's the only bad side about it, but overall it's still a good card. It's kind of like a pseudo glow bulb, so, and it's not once per duel, thankfully. For my one-ups, I'm running 1 Aromage Rosemary, just because, you know, her ability is basically econ. You just switch a monster to defense mode, but you generally just use her just the fact that whenever you declare an attack, your opponent can't activate effects, so it's just really good. But for the new support, I'm running 1 copy of Aromage Laurel. This turns everything into tuner monsters. So yeah, you just special summon 1 card from your hand, or if your life points are higher, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you gain life points, you can target a non-tuner plant monster from your graveyard, and then special summon it as a tuner, so it's really good. Next, Aromage Marjoram. This card is actually nasty. It's like, the fact that she's a soul release is just really good, but I also like the fact that as long as your points are higher, this card can't be destroyed by battle, or when a plant monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you gain life points, you can target cards in your opponent's graveyard up to the number of Aroma monsters you control. So, yeah. And while, like I said, while your life points are higher, you can take no battle damage involving plant monsters. The targeting effect I meant was actually for the Link monsters. I apologize for that. So if you have this together with the Link monster, you essentially not only can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, but you take no battle damage. So, yeah, it's just a good way to, you know, defend yourself. Now for the plant engines, I'm actually running 3 copies of Lone Fire Blossom. This card gives you access to all your plant monsters, and honestly, this is actually what makes the deck work. So Lone Fire Blossom, definitely want to run this at 3, and yeah. Next up, I'm running 3 copies of Evil Thorn. This is usually a card I like to use to get the upper hand on my opponent. You tribute this card, burn your opponent for 300 points of damage, and then you can special summon 2 more copies of itself. And usually I always like to use this as my second normal summon if Aromage Jasmine, you know, this effect can go off. So yeah, Evil Thorn is definitely an awesome card to try out. It's also really good for time if you think about it. So give Evil Thorn a try, see how you guys like it. 1 Glow Bulb, you know, just an extender piece. It was either going to be this or Spore. It's like honestly up to you. They're both just as good as one another. I just prefer Glow Bulb because, you know, level 1 tuners are easier to work with. So that's all I got to say about that. Alright, for hand trips, I'm actually running 3 copies of Ash and 3 copies of Valor. You could also main deck Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood if you wanted to. I'm actually signing mine out, mainly to go games 2 or 3. Mostly 3, just, you know, just to win by time. But in general, this deck is already really good at gaining you life points anyway, so I felt like these were the better disruptions right now, so yeah. Alright, now we're moving on to spells. Starting off with Aroma Garden. So once per turn, you can gain life points as long as you control an Aroma monster. And once you do, all your Aroma monsters well, all your plant monsters gain 500 attack and defense points. Now, what's also cool about this card is that if your plant monsters get destroyed by battle, or rather your aroma monsters, you gain 1,000 life points. And this card is not a hard once per turn, so you could activate another one and gain even more life points. So if you happen to have two while you have an aroma, gain life points, you gain life points, boom. Like, you should be set with that. Next, 2 copies of the new Aroma Gardening. Whenever you normal summon or special summon an aroma monster, you gain 1,000 life points. And also, whenever your opponent's monsters declare an attack, you get to special summon another aroma monster from your deck. So it's really good just to help you extend. It just plays that really powerful grind game, so it's really stally. I really like that, so it's just a good troll card. And of course, I got the 1 Terraforming to go with Aroma Gardening. Next, 3 Called by the Grave. You know, one hand trap that really hurts you is probably going to be Ash Blossom or Ghost Ogre, so you don't want those cards to go off on you. Impermanence is like, well, if you already have like the built-in protection from the Link monster where you can't be targeted anyway, you should be just fine. I don't really worry about cards like Nibiru because this deck doesn't really spam out a lot of monsters. So, yeah, I think Called by the Grave at 3 is a safe bet. One of my own tech choices, I'm running 3 copies of Instant Fusion. Just, you know, just to bring out, like, if I need a starter, you know, or just a card to basically break boards, Instant Fusion kind of helps with that with cards like Thousand Eyes Restrict or Invoked Raijin, etc. Another tech I'm also running is 3 copies of Lost Wind, which I'm sorry, I forgot to mention we're going into traps already. I don't have Impermanence, so this is the next best card. And plus, it has Self-Recursion, so Lost Wind is just really good. No one ever sees this card coming. Cuts your opponent's monster's attack points in half, and it's a permanent. It permanently negates their effects, so Lost Wind's just crazy good. Now, as for the Aromage trap cards, I'm only running 1 of each. I'm running 1 Humid Winds, where you can pay 1,000 life points to add an aroma monster from your deck to your hand. And if your life points are higher, you gain 500 life points. 1 Blessed Winds has 3 different effects. You can either send a plant monster from your hand or face up to the field to the graveyard to gain 500 life points. Target 1 plant monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into your deck for recursion, gain 500 life points. Or you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon an aroma monster from your grave. And the only reason why I'm only running 1 of each of these is because the fact is all 3 of the Aromage trap cards are searchable. Which comes to our last card, Dried Winds, which generally you gain life points. Or if you gain life points, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it. I never used the secondary effect where you pay life points equal to the difference to destroy face-up monsters your opponent controls, whose combined attack points are less than or equal to the life points you had. But, I mean, it is a risky card, so... But if you can pull it off, you know, go for it. You know, I mostly just like to use it to pop my opponent's cards, so... Yeah. Well, that's it for the main deck. That's 40 cards. Alright, now we're moving on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, running 2 copies of Aromatherapy Jasmine. If your life points are higher than your opponent's, this card and any plant monster you control can't be destroyed by battle. You contribute 1 monster this card points to, special summon 1 plant monster from your deck in defense mode. You can only use this effect once per turn. And once per turn, if you gain life points, you can add a plant monster from your deck to your hand. So, really good. Next, I'm running 1 copy of Barricade Board Blocker. You know, just the fact that you can protect your field spell with this, and you generally need to. And also protects your continuous spell, and also recycles your field spell and your continuous spell. So, that's why I'm running the 1. I'm also running Link Karibo. I do have a few level 1s, including what's in my extra deck, so we'll get to that momentarily. And then Boral Sword Dragon, which is actually pretty easy to make in this deck. For my Synchro lineup, I'm running 2 copies of Aromatherapy Sweet Marjoram. While your life points are higher than your opponent's, your opponent cannot target plant monsters you control with card effects. So this is the part where you can protect your monsters from targeting effects. It's really good. This card is Synchro Summon. You can add 1 Humid Winds, Dried Winds, or Blessed Winds from your deck to your hand. So, and again, this card is super easy to bring out. And if you gain life points, target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. So it's just another version of Dried Winds. It's just really good. I'm only running 1 copy of Aromatherapy Rosemary. While your life points are higher, all plant monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense points. And once per turn, if you gain life points, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. That face-up card has its effects negated until the end of the turn. So it's a good way just to deal with problematic monsters that might have some built-in protection. For my other synchros, I'm running 1 Coral Dragon. You know, just the fact that it's also spell removal, and if it's destroyed, you can also gain. You get the effect to draw 1 card. One Black Rose Dragon, just because who doesn't like to nuke the board. This is actually one of my deck's main win conditions, Ancient Sacred Wyvern. If this card is synchro summoned while your life points are higher than your opponent's, this card gains attack points equal to the difference. So, like, let's say your life points was 15,000, your opponent had 6,000 life points. Well, you can pretty much just do the math, and this card already gains it with its 2,100 attack points. So, that literally can easily become a one-card OTK. So, yeah. And it's actually, I shouldn't have said when this card is synchro summoned. It's just while your life points are higher. So, as long as your life points remain higher, it can stay strong no matter what. And my last synchro monster is Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Really easy to make too, especially because you got a lot of ways to do it with like Glow Bulb. We have a few level 7 monsters. Coral Dragon's the tuner. You could easily, tune it with Aromage Jasmine to make Crystal Wing. So there's a lot of options there. And for my instant fusion targets, I got Invoked Raijin, Mud Dragon of the Swamp. Just the fact that I always like to use these as synchro fodder or link climbing. All that good stuff. And of course, the Thousand Eyes Restrict, just for free spot removal. Alright, so that's it for the extra deck. Now we're moving on to the side deck, which we'll go through real quickly. Running 3 copies of Nibiru. Can't say anything about that. I mean, it's one of the best hand traps this format. 3 copies of Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, which again, I like to use this mainly going game 3. 3 Shared Ride, love to bring this card out whenever I can, just to give me access to keep drawing, especially on a search heavy deck. So Shared Ride, definitely an amazing option for back row, Cosmic Cyclone, or just decks that that like to fill up their boards but don't have a way to like really negate evenly matched, like Sky Strikers and all that stuff. So if you hit them, they're pretty much done with this. So yeah, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.